Yes, guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to this afternoon's live stream. And tomorrow night, Chelsea host Leicester in the first of two home games in Stamford Bridge in the space of 3 days to conclude the 21-22 season. Fresh off the back of Wembley disappointment again for the Blues, we're back in action at home to Leicester City. We require 1 point from the remaining 2 games to secure that third place in the table. So it's vital we just get that done as soon as possible. And then perhaps on the last day of the season, we can, see some rotation, see some of the academy lads get some minutes and whatnot, because the third place will be done and dusted. I'm delighted to be joined by my brother. Bro, thanks for coming back on again. It's been a while, but good to have you as always. Obviously disappointment at Wembley again. We've moved on from that. How would you, I guess I'm going to ask you now, how would you assess the season as a whole? We've got 2 games left. I mean, never say never with Chelsea, but I think it's highly unlikely that we don't get the 1 point required to finish third. How would you assess the season as a whole? Because for me, there was a lot of expectation going into the season. Lukaku, we could be challenging for the league. We started very well. The injuries didn't help us. Off the pitch, things didn't help either. But ultimately, I kind of look back at it with 2 lost finals. Yes, we won the Club World Cup for the first time in our history, and we won the Super Cup, but I almost feel a sense of disappointment in that, despite everything that's gone on, we've kind of underachieved a bit this season. How do you see it as a whole?
It's unavoidably disappointing. It's a different type of disappointment. I'm not here thinking we need a new manager.
No.
I'm not here thinking that there are wholesale changes which need to take place at the club in order for us to achieve what it is that we want. There are changes, no doubt. And we need to bolster our squad. We'll talk about it, whatever. So it's a weird kind of disappointment where, I don't really know how much we can talk about what goes off on, what's taking place off the pitch with the change of ownership, etc. I don't really know how much, if you're a player, you care about that, or that impacts day-to-day of training. I don't know. It's difficult to say. People use it as an excuse. People say that it can't be used as an excuse. I don't know. Ultimately, it's disappointing. I see us as, I want Chelsea to be with City and Liverpool. We are not. That is just
we're quite a way off.
There's distance between us and them. In a one-off game, I back us, no doubt.
Yeah.
We should have won both finals in real time. I mean, I say that. The FA Cup, both teams could have taken it in real time. We both hit the woodwork. We both had good chances. But, it's unavoidably a disappointing season. But I don't feel necessarily depressed or downbeat about Chelsea. No. I'm excited about next season. I just don't know, there's still so many question marks. We don't feel settled remotely. It's difficult to ever really feel settled as a Chelsea fan, because of the way the club's been run throughout the Abramovich era. Obviously, we're going into a different one now, and will there be differences? I don't know. But it's still part of the continual kind of where are we feeling that you get when you're a Chelsea fan. Unavoidably, but usually, ordinarily, that comes with success, which is very exciting and kind of subsidizes, legitimizes that confusion or that instability or lack of grounding. But we will see. I'm disappointed, but again, I'm excited. I just don't know what to say about the Lukaku situation and where that's going to go. I couldn't predict it at all.
Yeah, no, I think, to be honest, with the expectations we had at the start of the season, I was expecting a title challenge. I think it's easy to get carried away as a Chelsea fan, but we had the squad, brought in the centre forward that we felt we needed, that was missing. And ultimately, for one reason or another, a lot of things have transpired and it's not quite happened. And it's disappointing from that sense. I think the expectations were so high at the start of the season, having, come off the back of winning the Champions League. I think that papered over a lot of cracks and weaknesses within the squad, within the team. And this is kind of more of a reality of where we're actually at. We are a cup side. We don't have it in us at the moment to be consistent over a 38-game season, which is why we've not challenged at all for the Premier League since 2017. Nowhere near. The aim has obviously got to be to close the gap. So on that front, it's disappointing. But I think we can still be proud of the fact that we have done well. We've still picked up 2 trophies, despite them being part of last year's success. We did win them during this season, so I think that's a plus. But yeah, you definitely sort of have a sense of disappointment, but not disappointment as like in the true sense of the word. It's just that it was okay, but okay is not really good enough. It's not really good enough at Chelsea. But we say we should get that 3rd place. 1 point required from the last 2 games. Tomorrow night against Leicester. Leicester themselves had an indifferent season after winning the FA Cup last year, back-to-back 5th places. Brendan Rodgers done a superb job there. They've kind of tailed off a little bit this season. I mean, we've struggled at Stamford Bridge recently. Last time out, we threw away a 2-goal lead with a 2-2 draw at Wolves. How do you see tomorrow going? Do you fully expect us to put Wembley behind us and kind of put in a convincing performance at home? Because it's been a while since we've had a convincing performance at Stamford Bridge.
What do you say, mate? Like, I know, I completely agree, mate. But what do you say? Like, it's like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. The end of the season has been post-Champions League departure, which was mad in itself. What are we? We played well against Liverpool. There's like all sorts of kind of pockets of good performances, but also a lot of crap. So it's like, what is going to happen tomorrow? We've got a Leicester side that's been struggling as well. So I don't know. I think we'll likely win. I'm confident that we'll be able to put in a good performance. I know that guys want to. I believe in this group. I believe in the cohesion of this group. And I feel as though there's a lot of good stuff going on there. So, what will happen tomorrow? I imagine that we'll win. I imagine we'll see some squad rotation. Not large, because we still need this point, like you say. But that's all I can really say about it. It's a weird time to be a Chelsea fan. It's the sort of like immediately post Bernabeu, end of season fever, end of season feeling or malaise or just weird buzz was all over the club. So I don't really know. I don't really know what to say about tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at the moment as Chelsea. In a big game, they'll be up for it and a performance will be delivered more often than not. But it's those games in between that you don't know what you're going to get. Against Wolves, seemingly in control, and then, threw it all away in the last 12 minutes. Put in a decent performance against Leeds. Struggled a lot against the West Ham B side and got a last-minute winner. You just don't know what you're going to get. And I think it's very much got that end-of-season feel. I think, in all honesty, I think most fans, probably the players themselves, are thinking, you probably do without these last 2 games. We just need to get away from this season now. We've had 2 big disappointments at Wembley. Ownership saga has not helped. We had a Lukaku interview. We've had a lot of things going on, a lot of COVID issues in and around Christmas time. I think everyone's just looking forward to the end of the season. And these 2 games, whilst you always look forward to games as a fan, and it should be an honour as a player to play football for your club every time you put the shirt on. I think a lot of them will be feeling, I'm not really feeling these last 2 games. I mean, let's just get to the end of the season. But I agree. I think, we should have enough to win. It's about time we won a game at home convincingly as well. To be honest, I'll just take whatever we can get, whether it's 1-0 or whatever. But in some more positive news, Ben Chilwell, who's been out for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Funny that. He's been out for a while. He is now back in training. Again, nothing to be excited about. He's just returned. It's a big step, but he's not going to play any this season. He probably won't be available at the start of next season. But it was great to see the photos shared yesterday that Chile is back in training. Smile on his face. Yeah, he's smiling on his face. It's great to see Tuchel there, giving him a big hug. Delighted to welcome him back to the group. The lads delighted to see him back. That'll be a big boost as well, won't it? I mean, not that he's going to be playing or anything, but it'll just kind of lift the mood a little bit around the place potentially, if there's any lingering disappointment still after the weekend. I mean, how delighted are you, mate, to see Chile back in training with the first team, even though it's still a bit of a way to go on the road to recovery? How pleased are you to see him back with the group again?
Mate, so pleased for him as well, personally. I mean, imagine that. Like, Chile comes to Chelsea, fits in like a glove, starts killing it, becomes a key member of the side, and then bang, he's not going to play a first team game for the best part of a year. Like, imagine what that's like. You got to watch your players. You travel with the team. You do all this stuff. how insane must that be as an individual? It's so unique to sports that you get these kind of like crazy episodes whereby, you know, a key member of your group, a key member of the, you know, the organization is unable to take part for such an extended period of time. And it's such a crucial time for him as a player as well. I think he's going to come back stronger. Respect for him for going through all that. I don't doubt that it's been dark and difficult. Training on your own, so much rehab, literally nothing you can do when you're watching the games. And we've had a dramatic season in large part as well. So, great to see him back. Excited for us as a side to have Chile back. I think he's going to be essential next season. I think a large part of this season proved how important he was. He and Reece James as well, how important they were. And look, happy days. Also, what a geezer. Like, what a good guy. Like, love Chile. You know from like the Euros and from being a Chelsea fan, you know this guy's a good dude. You know he's like essential for the cohesion of the group. He's one of those geezers who's just going to hold it together, hold it down, and help people feel like they're part of something. So yeah, nice. Happy days, mate.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. And, you know, obviously, you know, it remains to be seen what his form will be like when he comes back from this injury. It's important to give him the right time to get back into it. It's going to take him a good few games to get back up to speed. So, you know, important not to put any pressure on him there. But it's a real big plus to see Chile back with a smile on his face and back in with the group again. Moving on to some more kind of transfer related news then. Obviously, kind of broke today. I mean, Chelsea were looking at Jules Kounde last summer, the France and Sevilla centre-back. Yeah. It didn't quite go through. I think we kind of fucked about with it a little bit. We should have done it last summer. It looks like it will go through this summer. And there's Kinsella, great journalist over at Goal, has learned that terms of the contract for Kounde to Chelsea have been agreed. The only thing left is to close the agreement with Sevilla. A price of around 70 million euros is mentioned in order for Sevilla to balance their accounts. Now, obviously, as well, Sevilla want this to be concluded as quickly as possible so that they can begin their search for a replacement. Chelsea are planning to conclude this deal once the Bowley takeover has been given the full green light, which it should be done imminently. Jules Kounde, obviously, we're losing Christensen and we're losing Rudiger, and we're probably going to lose Azpilicueta as well. You know, 22, 23 years of age, Kounde, a French international, done very well at Sevilla, an exciting young defender. Does this excite you, the kind of profile we need to be going for, a good replacement for some of the outgoings that we've got?
Yes. Yeah, it does. I don't know. It's like if you think more like generally speaking about transfers and like the managers that have I think Klopp's probably bought the best since his joining Liverpool. He's bought the best in the Premier League and arguably the best in sort of European football throughout that time period, and in also making the best of what he's got. But he's bought brilliantly, and in large part like not necessarily name signings, not like statement signings. I think Chelsea is a glamour club, and there's no doubt about that. We're a wealthy club there's a brilliant business ethic at the club. And like I think we are drawn to statement signings, and I wouldn't necessarily class Kounde as a statement signing. I think he's exactly the kind of signing we need to be looking for. I think that's, in my view, pitch perfect, and I'd love to see him at the club.
Yeah, I think it's something we need to kind of alter. You know, top quality centre backs are going to be expensive and they're hard to find. They're a rare breed. There's not many of them. Yeah. And particularly with Kounde as well, you look at it and you've got to look big picture as well. There is resale value there. You know, he's at an age where, you know, if he decided that he wanted to move on or the club wants to part ways after, say, 3-4 seasons, you know, he's still going to be at an age where the club can make profit from him because there's resale value there. That's also got to come into the thinking. I think the age profile is good. Is he as good as Rudiger or Christensen? That's kind of debate. He's definitely no worse. Again, he's versatile. Can play right back as well. So that's another plus in regards to him. And yes, 70 million euros is a lot of money, but top quality football players are expensive, and we're losing quality, and we need to replace it. So, you know, yeah, that's the going price. That's what we have to pay if we want him. It's as simple as that. So it looks like Jules Kounde for 70 million euros will be concluded once the Bowley takeover has gone through. I'm not going to talk too much on a takeover in regards to that. I done a stream last night with Ben Jacobs, the journalist, who gave some fascinating insight about all things takeover. So please do head to the channel and check out that, all your information about the takeover, what we can expect from Todd Bowley, how he's going to run things. So head to the channel and check that out. But Jules Kounde looks like it should go through very soon. Once the takeover has been given the green light, Kounde should be the first signing of the Bowley era. Just another brief thing on transfers before we move on. Chelsea have obviously always looking at players, I guess. And it's come out that Chelsea, also in the same article by Nizar Kinsella, Chelsea have looked at PSG centre-back Presnel Kimpembe, Josko Gvardiol from Leipzig, Jose Jimenez, the Atletico Madrid centre-back, Declan Rice, Tchouaméni, the holding midfielder at Monaco, and Marc Cucurella, the fullback from Brighton. Obviously, these are just players we've looked at. This doesn't mean that any of them are going to be signed, but it gives you an idea of the kind of talent that Chelsea are identifying. I'm not going to ask you about all these guys, but
Declan Rice, mate.
Declan Rice. I mean,
that's happening, mate. That's
well. I mean, I'd love it to happen, but it's going to cost a lot.
I think he wants it to happen as well.
No, he does want it to happen, but I think
why would it not?
Money, because he's in a position at West Ham where he's still got a number of years left on his contract, so it doesn't put him in a good position for kind of leveraging for a move, and it also enables West Ham to demand a lot more money for him than if he had less years left on his contract. I'd love to see Declan Rice. I mean, these are the sort of players looking at the list there. I mean, maybe not Kimpembe. I don't think he's that great. But
he's also a little bit.
Gvardiol, and again, I think, look, 20 years of age, Croatian, done well at Leipzig. I think maybe just a little bit too inexperienced for it. But again, yeah, I'd agree with this one in the chat here. It's going to come down to preference as well of the player. Now, if Declan Rice, kicks up a bit of a fuss about this, puts in a transfer request, makes a bit of a hoo-ha, tries to put pressure on West Ham to force a move through, then there's potential for that to happen. But if things kind of remain amicable, for want of a better word, then I think it's going to be difficult to get done for, let's say, less than £100 million, maybe even more than that. The big question is will Rice push for the move? That's the thing. That's kind of what it boils down to for me. But again, that would take up a large. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know Declan Rice at all as a person. You look at interviews with him, the character he is. He comes across very well. Seems like a top guy. Loves West Ham. He's West Ham through and through. Yes, he was at Chelsea, but he left when he was 14. So yeah, he's someone. I don't think he's someone that would do something to piss off the West Ham fans, but he's also someone that is ambitious and that, if he wants this move, and I think he would potentially be prepared to do whatever it takes to potentially get it. I'm not saying it will be this summer. I'd love it to be this summer, but I think maybe it could be perhaps with a view more towards next summer. But again, it is a position.
Declan Rice, you are 23.
Yeah.
You have got boys in the Chelsea setup. You are from Chelsea in a way. We are looking to challenge for titles. We want to win the Champions League. We want to win cups. We like West Ham. Like, just do it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, it makes sense from all perspectives. Chelsea need a midfield player like Declan Rice. Declan Rice, like he loves Chelsea. Oh, I was going to say he loves Chelsea, but he's fond of Chelsea. He's very fond of the club. He's got links there. He's good mates with JT, so maybe JT can sort us out there.
Mount as well.
Have a bit of a word. He's best mates with Mason Mount. Look, there's definitely connections there with Chelsea. Someone that we've looked at. I mean, I look forward to seeing how this one develops. But I mean, other names on the list, I love Tchouaméni. I think he's a top player. The Monaco holding midfield player. I think potentially we could have missed the boat with him. We could have got him last summer for 40 million euros. The price is now going to be between 70 and 80 million. Other teams are interested. Real Madrid, worryingly enough, Liverpool have been reported recently potentially being interested in him. Tchouaméni is a top baller as well. But in terms of Marc Cucurella, I think it's an interesting one at Brighton. I think he's had a fantastic season. I think I've seen a stat somewhere that he's created more open play chances than Mason Mount has this season. I might have slightly misquoted that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read. An exciting player. He again would be 30, 40 million pounds, but more of the signings that Chelsea need to be making. You know, not necessarily a big name, but buying from within the Premier League, someone that's proven themselves. Not risk-free signing, but you know, more thoughts gone into it. And again, that's something that we can expect from the Bowley Consortium, is that things in the transfer market are going to be different. Yes, they will invest, but it's going to be very much more a data-driven approach, much more looking at like how Liverpool do things, actually researching not just the player, but kind of like the character. Does he fit into the system? Is it what the manager wants? So again, I think that's exciting. But you know, transfer window opens officially on June the 10th. You know, already rumours are hotting up. Some deals already done. But I mean, yeah, there's some exciting names on that list. We're not going to get all of them. I would love all of them, but we're not going to get all of them. We'll get a selection from that list potentially. Jules Kounde should very much be the first signing of the Bowley administration. I'd love Declan Rice, but that's going to be a lot more difficult to get done. Mate, for you, you know, if you could have one signing this summer, I know we need centre-backs and stuff, etc., but you'd be delighted if Declan Rice arrives through the door at the Bridge.
Yeah. There's like, the thing is, there's like, you think about signings and I don't know, maybe it's the nature of the centre forward role and also our history with it. But like, you sign a player like Lukaku who's on red hot form, even when he's coming in, you don't really know how it's going to go. And I'm not to say that it's risk free, like you say, but Rice coming in, you've got to imagine it's going to go well. You know, that's a nice fit. Mate, let me ask you, how's it going to go? Haaland at City, short term, long term.
I think it'll be phenomenal. I think I think it ticks all the boxes. You know, a top player. You know, physical presence. He's just a specimen. He's like an Adonis. I think there's very few negatives to it. You know, look, okay, yeah. You say, look, the fee is low because of the release clause. Yes, I know the package with the commission to agents, etc., the wages, etc. He's not broken the wage structure. He'll be on the same level of wages as Kevin De Bruyne, 375 a week. The two of them, the link up between those two guys
isn't Haaland on 500?
No. He's within the wage structure, mate. 375. Him and KDB. There'll be I believe there's a clause in the contract after 3 years that he can leave for 150 million euros. I think it's for me. There's no negatives to the deal whatsoever. I think it's a phenomenal transfer. I really do.
Haaland proven. Yes.
Yeah, he is, mate. He's the fastest player in Champions League history to score 20 goals. And you look at the players that have played in that tournament. So I think it'll be a phenomenal signing. And yes, it's frustrating he's gone to City, disappointing, but I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the Premier League. But right. So in terms of Chelsea, mate, Rice would be one that you'd love to see come in.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Yeah, I think that would be the group as well. Like, you know, I think it works. So it works on a number of levels. Obviously, it's not a kind of like Haaland level signing. It's not the sort of buzz name signing and all the rest of it. But gassed up about the idea of it. And
another good point here, which I've forgotten about. Obviously, we still have Brozier. It's very much been said that if Chelsea are also interested in Ousmane Dembele, I think would be a great signing on a free transfer from Barcelona. But in order for that to happen, one of Christian Pulisic, Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech or Hudson-Odoi would be required to leave. I think in the forward positions, it's very much operating a one-in, one-out policy. No one's going to come in an attacking position without someone else leaving. We're going to need to get rid of one.
Someone's going to leave?
I think Timo Werner will be sold. If we get one, I think Werner will be sold. Pulisic, again, chatting with Ben Jacobs last night, saying that he very much is part of the plans in terms of for the new owners. They'll probably look to offer him a new deal on improved terms potentially. Yeah, in terms of marketability as well, massive for American owners. Chelsea trying to get more into that American market as well.
It's a monkeys. Pulisic doesn't cut it, mate.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where he's got potential. Again, you don't realise how young he is. He's 23. Like these guys have got a lot of. Pulisic will stay. Unless a ridiculous offer came in which case you might consider it. But I think Pulisic very much staying. But yeah, a good thing is that we could use Brozier. Chelsea have obviously got players that they can use as potentially a swap deal of some description. Brozier, who started off well at Southampton, he's not He's not good enough for Chelsea right now. He's not ready, I would say. I think we've seen that. I think it could be potentially used as a piece of the puzzle to maybe some part of the Declan Rice still potentially. But yeah, I think for me, Pulisic, yeah, he'll stay. He will be big for Chelsea off the pitch as much as on it. And again, as much as people might not like it, each individual sportsman is a brand. And Pulisic has got big brand value, particularly in that American market. It's massive. There's so much untapped potential out there in America for Chelsea. And Pulisic, he's the face of American football, American soccer, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of opportunities and a lot of sponsors and a lot of commercial opportunities that he can be used for to help the club make money and be more marketable in America. Whether you like that or not, sports clubs at the end of the day, they're there for our entertainment, but they're businesses and they've got to use your assets. And Christian Pulisic is a key asset, hopefully on the pitch more, but he's massive off the pitch as well. But yeah, he is huge. I've been critical of him over the course of the season. And, like with a lot of attackers, bar Mason Mount, the consistency is not there. But I think if we can be patient, and there is a player there. For me, I wouldn't be selling him this summer unless a ridiculous offer came in. There's other players that are far more likely to leave and that we'd be getting rid of. But yeah, I think he's got the potential and the ability to do something. It's just unlocking that. That's the key thing. Like with a lot of these players, is unlocking that ability to get the job done. But yeah, Pulisic will be staying. But yeah, Dembele I'd love on a free. But very much in the forward positions, it's very much going to be a case of one in, one out. And as that's not a key area that needs focusing on. Yes, it does need work, but we need more work at the back and in midfield. So whilst attacking reinforcements are always glamorous, it's going to be a one in, one out policy. So for Dembele to come in, someone would need to leave. And likewise, if we were to sign a striker, Lukaku would probably have to leave. And then someone else would come in to replace potentially. But
do you think it's going to happen?
No, I don't think so. I think Lukaku will probably get one more season. I know we've been linked with Lewandowski. We've tried to sign him 3 times before in the past. I'd be keen to have Lewandowski, but I don't think there's room for Lewandowski and Lukaku. He prefers Barcelona. Chelsea are interested. It's a possibility, but I'd say unlikely at the moment. But I certainly wouldn't say no to it. But it's one of those where Lewandowski, a phenomenal goal scorer, but it's always that worry in the back of your mind that when someone comes to Chelsea as a centre forward, they're just like they're just like destined to be shit, basically. Yeah, unless your name's Drogba or Costa. But mate, you've got to shoot, haven't you? One last thing from you, mate. Score prediction for tomorrow night, and then I'll crack on with the team.
I think we might concede. I think, but I don't know. 3-1 Chelsea.
3-1 Chelsea. Fair.
Lukaku just start and on the score sheet twice.
All right. We'll go with that then. Lukaku 2 goals in his last home game. We'll see what happens there, mate. I'm going to carry on, go through the team and stuff. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for your time. Take care, mate, and I'll catch up with you soon. Top man. Cheers.
Chelsea.
Okay, so guys, we're gonna get into the team lineup now. Before I get into the lineup, please do smash a like on the stream and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please click that subscribe button. Really appreciate all your support. Heading towards 500 subscribers now. So if I can get there by the end of the season, that would be absolutely phenomenal. So please do click that subscribe button. In terms of the team itself, obviously, team news, Thomas Tuchel's press conference is probably starting, now. So if I will try and bring some quotes from that and any, obviously, important, relevant information from there. I know I've seen a lot of people calling for the academy boys to be given a chance. For me, whilst we still require 1 point to come third, I don't think Tuchel will be making wholesale changes. I think there will be some rotation, but I don't think we'll see the likes of Harvey Vale or Jay Wareham, Charlie Webster, or what's his name, Lewis Hall as well. I think it would be unlikely to see them get minutes tomorrow. It's potential that Vale might be on the bench and could get minutes if things are going well, but I think very much a case of seeing them potentially feature against Watford. I think Tuchel will still go reasonably strong tomorrow. And for me, it will continue to be Edouard Mendy in goal. Guys in the chat, obviously, let me know your thoughts, what sort of lineup you go with. I'm sticking with a 3 at the back. I can't see us playing a 4, but you do never know. But I would expect to continue as a 3. Mendy in goal, back 3. I feel that Thiago Silva will be rested. I know he played Saturday. He played 120 minutes. He hobbled out at Wembley. He's not getting any younger. I'd expect him to have a rest and then probably play in the final day of the season against Watford. I personally probably wouldn't use him in this game against Leicester, but he could still play. But I'm going to go with Rudiger is going to play for me. I'm going to go Rudiger. And that means that I'll be picking Christensen. And I don't know if Christensen is going to play after the debacle of dropping out the FA Cup squad on the day of the game. So is Christensen actually going to play for Chelsea again? That's a difficult one. I'm kind of undecided on that. In the chat, if you could help me out, that'd be great. Do you think Christensen will play? Would you play Thiago Silva? I think Rudiger definitely plays. The last one's interesting. Will Azpilicueta come back into the back 3? Chalobah did very well. I'd like to continue with Chalobah, so I'm probably going to go Chalobah on this right-hand side. But then we have a situation where at middle centre-half, I mean, if you're in agreement with me that I don't think Thiago Silva will play, but then out of the 2 games, this one's more important than the Watford one. Maybe Silva will play. Maybe it'll just be the same back 3. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go with the same back 3. I think Silva plays. We've had enough time since Saturday. It's going to be Thursday night. I think Silva will play. The only one that perhaps I'm not sure about is potentially that one. And fuck it. I'm going Rudiger, Silva, Chalobah, the same 3 that started the cup final. Christensen is a difficult one. I'm not sure if he will play or not. Potentially not after what's gone on. I don't really think so. Rudiger, Silva, Chalobah for me. Aspi potentially has a shout of being in there, but for me, I just go with that same back 3. I'd very much then moving forward as well to right wing back. I would go with Reece James. Do any of you guys tuning in? Do you think there's a possibility that we could see James play as a right centre back and then see Ruben Loftus-Cheek play at right wing back, or maybe Azpilicueta? I don't want to see him play at right wing back again. I think that's done. Do you think there's a possibility for Ruben to play there and James to drop into the back line potentially? I mean, I personally probably wouldn't do that, but I think James would stick at right wing back, and I think left wing back again, just due to complete lack of options there. We're not going to see Malang Sarr there. Not going to see Azpilicueta there. Pulisic's not going to play there. I think it has to be Alonso. So very much for me, I would be going with the same back 5 that started the final against Liverpool. Again, possible changes. You might see Azpilicueta come in, but other than that, I think that pretty much picks itself. Midfield's where it's interesting. Now, obviously, with it being a final, Kovacic was risked, and rightly so. I wouldn't risk him in this game. The size of his ankle was ridiculous. Like when you saw the picture of the team photo before the game kicked off. I mean, Tuchel was saying afterwards he didn't understand how he even could even fit in his boot, let alone run around and play 66 minutes of football, which he actually, all things considered, did okay. I think Jorginho put in a great performance. He was really good. He captained the side. I thought he had a good game. Kante, when he came on, was awful in the remaining 25 minutes of the normal time, but then in extra time, he was decent. What's this shout here? A shout for Ruben Loftus-Cheek in right centre-back. We did see him in the back line against Luton in the Cup. I'm not sure we'll see him there again, but I get your point in terms of with his size. I'd love to see Ruben start this game. But again, I think Kante probably plays as well. So it's a difficult one to juggle, but it's my team. If I was doing what I think Tuchel's going to go with, I think Tuchel will do Jorginho Kante. But the only problem with going Loftus-Cheek Kante is that Loftus-Cheek, whenever he plays in a pivot, tends to always be the holding player. I never understand why when he plays alongside Kante, he seems to be the defensive-minded player, and Kante seems to have a bit more license to to push forward. Not really sure about that. I'm going to go. Do you know what? I'm going to go Loftus-Cheek and Jorginho, just because Ruben can be a bit more attacking there. I'll go Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho, but again, if it's if it's what I think Tuchel will do, I think it will very much be Jorginho and Kounde. But I'd love to see Ruben play there. I think he deserves a shout. In terms of the front three, then obviously we don't know the severity of Timo Werner's injury that he got in the warm-up whilst warming up as a substitute in the cup final, and we don't know too much about the Kai Havertz injury either. So I mean, again, we've got opportunities potentially for Hakim Ziyech to come in. I wonder if Mason Mount will be maybe rested. It's a possibility. I mean, do you think there's a chance for Hakim Ziyech maybe in that position? There's definitely potential there. I mean, I personally I'd play Pulisic again on that left-hand side. I think that's potentially as close to a shoe-in as you can get. I did like him there. I felt he's done well in the last few games. He did well against Leeds. I thought he did well in that kind of number 10 position behind the split strikers at home to Wolves. And I felt despite the poor finishing in the cup final, he was bright and one of our better attacking players, if not the most effective. Just going to bring you some news that's just coming in now from the press conference. Tuchel on Christensen himself. I'm not sure if he is involved. And on the weekend, Andreas told me on the morning of the match that he wasn't ready to start the match or be on the bench. He had his reasons, but it will stay private. We had similar situations in the last weeks. Tuchel on Christensen, he has our support. It is probably unlikely that he plays, but I have no prediction. On terms of injuries, Havertz, he just says big question mark. Werner out with hamstring. Cover's ankle was swollen after the match, so I'm not sure he will be available. Ben Chilwell is back in team training. It was a big lift to everyone, but he's not available. Tuchel clarifies something important, re Christensen. It wasn't that he doesn't want to play. He wasn't able to play. And I think, with the Christensen situation, I think it's very much a case of there's potentially some sort of health issues going on in regards to that. The fact he wasn't able to play, does he have crippling anxiety? Does he have some sort of illness potentially? I don't really know, but it's saying the reasons will stay private. So that leads me to believe that there's kind of a bit more to it than just, people jumping on saying he's pathetic, doesn't want to play. He wants to join Barca. He's joining Barca, but I don't think he's the sort of guy, if you've been at the club since 15, 16 years of age, you've come through the ranks, you've been part of the loan program, you were superb in the Champions League final. I don't think you just drop out of games for no reason. You certainly don't make it as a top-level professional football player, win Champions Leagues, win big trophies, if you're someone that just drops out of games for no reason, because clubs don't want that sort of character around. So it'll be interesting to see if those reasons do actually ever come out. But Timo Werner is out. Kai Havertz, big question mark. So Christian Pulisic will play. I'm going to stick with Mason Mount as well. I don't think Mount will be dropped for that. I mean, you could make a possible shout for Hakim Ziyech. He came on in the final. I felt, whilst not great, he was okay. He was okay. So Mount and Pulisic, and then Havertz, big question mark. Then for me, that leaves Lukaku again as the obvious choice to start. But then again, we did see Lukaku come off in the final. We saw a Ziyech, Pulisic, Mount front three. And I have to say that even though Lukaku perhaps wasn't doing an awful lot in the game itself, there was a physical presence there, and he occupied centre-backs, and he was creating space for the other attackers. I feel when you go with three small players, I know Man City do it, I know sometimes Liverpool do it as well, but I don't think we've got the fluidity or the interchangeability with our three, and they certainly haven't got the chemistry that City do, or the quality in terms of consistency to do that. So I would very much go with Romelu Lukaku, but I wouldn't completely rule out potentially seeing a Ziyech, Pulisic, Mount front three either. But I think another good opportunity for Lukaku to finish the season on a high, it would be his fourth start in a row, which would be the first time that's happened in a while. But I mean, that's what I'd go with. I'll just see now if I can bring you any further updates from the presser. Obviously, we've had that on Christensen. Let's see if anything else has come through. Tuchel also saying that they won't. Conor Gallagher will not play in the next two matches. I'm sure that must have been a question about. We will not play Conor Gallagher in the next two matches. Tuchel saying that Tony deserves to play. There's no need not to give him the last matches. So Tuchel pretty much confirming that Rudiger will play in the last 2 games and get his chance to say goodbye to the fans before he moves on to Real Madrid. Any other key things coming through? I don't think so. But yeah, guys, let me know if you agree with my lineup. Do you know there any players that you feel should be playing that I haven't got down? I think the front 3 picks itself with Timo out of the hamstring, Havertz big question mark. The only change you might see is Hakim Ziyech potentially, but other than that, with Hudson-Odoi still out, there aren't any other options. I think that'll be the front 3. Look, I'd like to see Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho. I think it will more be Kante, Jorginho, and I think the back line will remain the same. So that's the team that I've gone with. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I think it's actually been taken off Sky now. I think it was due to be on Sky televised, but because Chelsea have now got 4th, thanks to Arsenal getting muddied up at Newcastle on Monday night, I believe it's been taken off Sky. So because Chelsea are now confirmed to be playing Champions League football next season. So I'll have to find a stream to watch the game on. But hopefully, we can give the faithful something to cheer about and a win at home and, round out this last week of the season with 2 wins. So that's my team. Guys, as always, thank you so much for getting involved in the chat. Really appreciate you commenting, giving your thoughts and stuff. A score prediction for myself for tomorrow night. I don't know. I've not done well with these recently. It does seem to be quite tough. I never go against Chelsea. I can never come on here and say that my team are not going to win, but it's been hard to predict results recently. I'd like to think we bounced back from the disappointment of Wembley. I'm going to go, I think we'll concede. I'm going to go a narrow 2-1 win. 2-1 win for Chelsea, and I'd like to think that Lukaku will score a goal. So I'm going for a 2-1 win. That seems like a good place to round out the stream there. Then, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for getting involved in the chat. As always, please do smash a like on the stream and please do click that subscribe button. I really appreciate all of your support and for all the latest news on the takeover situation and what we can expect from Todd Boehly and how things will be run when he takes over. Please do check out my latest stream on the channel from last night with journalist Ben Jacobs, who gives loads of detail and loads of great insight into the situation there. So please do check that out for all the latest news on the Chelsea takeover. But until then, guys, smash a like on the stream, click that subscribe button. I'll catch you tomorrow evening after the game for a player ratings and match reaction. But until then, take care and up the Chelsea.